Yo, shalom, shalom, man. It's the brother from the Hopeful Elect. We got a Wisdom Wednesday today or tonight, and the title of today's video is called "Pay Attention." Pay attention. I'm doing this video just because I know through life, a lot can be a distraction and cause you to lose attention. So I'm telling everybody we need to pay attention, right? It should be a cool little video, something to instill some wisdom in our people. Before we get started, though, we're going to give all glory and honor and praise to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who sent his son as an instrument of salvation for the nation, and whom we plead the blood and we call the name and we look to be a mediator. And we say shalom to all those who are going to watch this video, and shalom to the 12 tribes, shalom to the speckled bird, and shalom to the cleavers out there. You know what I'm saying? This video should enlighten some of us and bear witness with a lot of us, right? But come on, man, let's get into this video. I don't want to be on here all night. I want one of the brothers, if y'all could read 1 Corinthians 7 and 3 first.
You got it on the screen?
Oh, Salakia. Yeah, Salakia. I'm about to add it to the stage. Shalom to the brother, Obadiah.
Obeezy.
Shalom.
Con. Let's read it real quick. Yeah, is it on the screen yet? I guess we came back off the screen.
Tripping. Go to share.
I know. It's down here in the lobby. I tried to add it. But my thing is somebody playing with it, bro?
No.
Somebody clicking on it.
Nobody's clicking on it, dude.
That brother Denal clicking on it.
Yeah, because he wasn't popping up when he was doing it.
I'm clicking on it at the same time I'm clicking on it. But anyway, I get it, man. 1 Corinthians 7 and 33.
Come, man. 1 Corinthians 7 and 33, and it says, "But he that is married care for the things that are of the world, how he may please his wife."
Right? So the direction I'm going with this lesson is certain things in this life may take away our attention, right? Some of us are more strong-minded, strong-willed, more disciplined than others. And some of us, we get very distracted and we let things fill our mind, right? Those things I'm talking about that's filling our mind are the things that are of the world that it says, right? Let's keep reading on that.
Come, verse 34. It says, "There is a difference also between a wife and a virgin. The unmarried woman cared for the things of the Lord, that she may be holy both in body and in spirit."
Right. So let's break that down, right? A virgin in this instance just means an unmarried woman, right? And a wife is a married woman, right? It says that the unmarried woman, right, the bachelorette, she careth for the things of the Lord, meaning we went into this a couple of videos back. When you're single, right, you can, fast whenever you want to. You don't have to worry about supporting somebody else, right? Whether you're a man or a female, you're always supporting your partner, right? Uh, when you're single, you can Salakia, Isaiah, you can put your thing on mute real quick. There's a little echo. But yeah, so when you're single, man, you can pray when you want to. You know what I'm saying? You could you could just have, certain days you want to fast. You could just fully devote yourself to the Lord when you're single, man. And all you have to do is worry about yourself. Man, you could fully devote yourself to the Lord, right? Let's keep reading on this though. After body and spirit.
Con, it says, "But she that is married care for the things of the world, how she may please her husband."
right? And right here, I want to emphasize when when you get married, or even when you start courting or whatever, so much comes into play that takes your mind away from only the Lord, right? You worried about your health because, like, I don't want anybody to think that my wife is with somebody that's unhealthy, and then she's worried about the same thing. I don't want my man to be unattracted to me, or have people thinking I'm unhealthy. So you worry about your body, right? You worried about emotions. You worried about financial means, right? You worried about in-laws. You worried about all different type of stuff, right? How to please your partner in that situation. Then don't add kids to it. Now you're adding kids. That's a whole nother set of I don't want to say drama, but that's a whole nother set of responsibility, right? And all these things combine together to keep taking your attention off the Most High God. You so worried about paying rent, right? And you don't know if you're finna pay rent this month. That, man, you've been thinking about that all day. You don't forgot to pray 3 times a day, right? You done got an argument with your spouse, and that's all you can think about for a week straight, right? And you just want to vent to everybody. You're not even thinking about the Lord, right? When you're reading, when you might have a specific time to take out of your day to read some scriptures. The whole time you're reading the scriptures, something else on your mind. So you done read 2 pages and you don't even retain nothing, right? So when you get married, man, when you get in relationships, start families and stuff like that, a lot of times, you know, uh, consequently, you stop caring for the Lord as much as you did when you were single. Right, let's go to verse 35.
On verse 35. And this I speak for your own profit, not that it may cast a snare upon you, but for that which is comely, and that you may attend upon the Lord without distraction.
Right? So he's saying, like, hey, he's saying this to our own profit, meaning he's just bringing it to our attention. So if we do find ourselves in situations where a lot is on our mind, to remind us to pay attention, right? That ye may attend upon the Lord, right? Meaning pay attention to the Lord without distraction, right? Let's go to right here. If a brother could read Sirach chapter 38, we're going to start at verse 24.
The book of Sirach 38 and 24. The wisdom of a learned man cometh by opportunity of leisure, and he that has little business shall become wise.
Right? Meaning what? If you got a lot on your plate, man, you're not gonna become that wise. You're gonna be trying to figure out how to knock out everything that's on your plate, right? You're gonna be trying to pay the bills. You're gonna be trying to fix the car. You're gonna be trying to make sure your spouse is in a good place emotionally. You're gonna be trying to spend time with the kids. You're gonna be trying to help your in-laws. You're gonna be trying to travel and to do all different type of things. You're not gonna have time to become wise. Like I said, when it's time to become wise and you got too much on your plate, right? Everybody can say we're guilty of this in Babylon, right? You got too much on your plate. It's hard for you to pay attention to the scriptures you're reading, man. You could just be reading and you don't even know what you read for the day. You don't finish your chapters or whatever. Don't even know what you read for the day because you got so much on your mind, right? It says the wisdom of a learned man cometh by opportunity of leisure. Now, that's not to be confused with having idle time or being lazy, but leisure, meaning you have a lot of free time. You may have a job that is stress free and gives you some leisure time, right? Or if you're single, you have a lot of leisure time. To my single people out there, don't worry about trying to find a spouse. Don't worry about starting a family. God is giving you this leisure time for a reason, to gain wisdom. Gain that wisdom, because what it's only going to be harder to gain wisdom once you start a family and get stuff on your plate. You praying for that job that you want to come with that salary. Hey, enjoy the leisure time that you may have right now. You know what I'm saying? And you're not responsible for other people. You're not responsible for big incidents at the job, right? And next thing you know, you're bringing stress from the job home. Next thing you know, you're on call, right? Because you wanted that salary. If God put you in an opportunity of leisure, use that leisure time to pay attention and become more wise, right? Let's get verse 25.
Take advantage of that opportunity. Right? This book of Sirach, chapter 38 and verse 25. How can he get wisdom that holdeth the plow and that glorieth in the goad that driveth oxen and is occupied in their labors and whose talks is of bullocks?
Right? How can you get wisdom when you're too worried about your day-to-day activities? You got too much going on, right? And and this is not to take a shot at people that got too much going on, because this stuff has to happen. Like like when you get cattle, right? It's a great thing. Husbandry is ordained, but your time is consumed, right? Your time is consumed, right? When we look at men of the Bible that were used, they had leisure time, right? When we look at Elijah, Elisha, Jeremiah, when we look at Ezekiel, when we look at Christ, we look at the 12 disciples. The 12 disciples fell asleep in the Garden of Gethsemane multiple times. They had a lot of leisure time. So what I'm saying is this: um, yes, you may have leisure time. Like if we looking at them, they have leisure time, but it comes with downfalls as well. As like we're gonna get into it too. Not having a house to call your own, not having a family, or if you have a family, you might not get to spend as much time as you want. But that's the that's the um, that's the opportunity cost it takes to gain wisdom, right? Because if not, you're going to be fishing. You're gonna be a fisherman. You're not gonna put down your net, right? We're gonna get into that too. You're gonna be, so consumed with wanting to pay the bills for your family, you're not gonna want to put down that fishing rod or your occupation, right? And it's only a few of us. Some of us, some people in the truth nowadays were able to quit their jobs on faith and become broke, right? And the Lord build them up. Even nowadays, if we look at it, if we look at a lot of charismatic leaders and leaders in this truth that we see, whether it be a church or organization or whatever, we all know some leaders that we see on YouTube or something, right? Or that helped us come and get knowledge in this thing. If you look at them, they don't really have an occupation. They might be old enough to where they have retired and they have leisure time, or they have a big enough body or church to where they don't have to work and they can continue to what? Gain wisdom and share the wisdom and teach and do breakdowns and do debates and do things of that nature to better edify the nation because they have that leisure time, right? Let's go verse 26.
Verse 26. He giveth his mind to make furrows and is diligent to give the kind fodder.
Right? So you may be busy and it may be for a good purpose. Like, you have to make furrows. You have to give food to the calves, right? You got to do that, right? They got to eat too. They got to have houses and shelter. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I'm not, it's not in by no way, shape, or form, like Paul just said, I don't do this to set a snare before you. I'm just doing this to raise awareness. Even though you're in the midst of that, I'm calling all of us to be better, right, than what this wisdom has given us on people that have day-to-day jobs. Let's be better and let's pay attention. Let's stay focused, right? Let's go to verse 27.
Verse 27. So every carpenter and workmaster that laboreth night and day, and they that cut and grave seals and are diligent to make great variety and give themselves to counterfeit imagery and watch to finish a work.
Right? I'm just reading this one because it's like, man, there's so many things in life that you can find yourself in to where it just takes your time. But like I said, I'm raising the bar. Like, to whom much is given, much is required. I'm raising the standard of accountability for everybody to do above and beyond. Right? You see the brothers on the screen here, like we all have jobs, but we made time. Right? We could have said, you know what, I need to get some rest so I can wake up in the morning next month. See, we made time because we're raising the bar. Right? We are paying attention. Right? We're not being distracted. Salakia. I want to go to verse 32. Right? Read this verse 32.
Verse 32. Without these cannot a city be inhabited, and they shall not dwell where they will, nor go up and down.
it's a place for the worker, man. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna get into that too. God has a place for the worker, and God's spirit is within the workers. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying a lot of times you see people that got a lot going on in their life, right? God has used married men, God has used shepherd boys. Yes, he has. But a lot of times the people that he used to be judges and priests. Think about the Levites, the priests. Their only job was what? He hollowed them. They wasn't supposed to be out there doing regular jobs and all that. They wasn't supposed to be shepherds. They had a job. Their job was the service of the Lord, right? So the Lord literally hollowed them, gave them all that leisure time so that they could just focus on the Lord, right? And so that's the thing. The men and the women that are for the service of the Lord, they have a lot of leisure time typically, right? And that's because they're not to be distracted. So this video once again is not to knock any of us, right? A city is ran a certain way for a certain purpose, you know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is this: don't be distracted. I know what the wisdom is saying, like the wisdom is doubting us, right? From Sirach and some of the other precepts we got. But what I'm saying is you can do all things through Christ, right? Let's raise awareness, right? Let's read verse 33.
Verse 33, they shall not be sought for in public council, nor sit high in the congregation.
All right, stop
They
right
shall
there, right? You're not gonna stop and get that welder and be like, hey, we're brother so-and-so that's a welder. Bring him into this council. No, you're gonna let that brother keep welding, right? 9 times out of 10, the brothers that's sitting in the public council and the high places of congregations, like I said earlier, a lot of our leaders in the nation now, a lot of our leaders in the faith now, they have a lot of leisure time to be fully committed, right? To be fully committed, right? So this is the wisdom that Sirach is given. Like, you're not gonna see those people that got a lot on their plate and a lot of responsibility elsewhere, be fully devoted to the Lord, and the Lord matters, the matters of the Lord, right? Keep reading though.
come. They shall not sit on the judge's seat, nor understand the sentence of judgment. They cannot declare justice and judgment, and they shall not be found where parables are spoken.
Right? You're not gonna a lot of these wise men in the Bible, like even when we take Sirach, the son of Jesus, right? I believe he was like a student. He was a scholar. Like he devoted his life to scholarship. Like he wasn't a craftsman, a tradesman, right? He wasn't. I don't know if he had kids or a wife or anything, but this man was fully devoted to the Lord. Like you're gonna see people throughout the Bible that were fully devoted to the Lord, and those are the men that are giving you the wise, deep parables, right? You got Solomon. Solomon was blessed by the Lord to do so and things of that nature. But when you see people like Elijah, right? When you see people like Enoch that was taken up and things of that nature, they were solid. Christ, right? These were men who didn't have too much responsibility in regular life activities, right? They were able to focus on the Lord and not be distracted. So guess what? Even if you are one of these people that is a craftsman, tradesman, or whatever, right? Just keep that in mind and say, you know what? I'm not going to be distracted. I'm going to pay attention all the time, every day. I'm going to make it I'm going to make it my what's the word? I'm going to make it my mission to stay attentive at all times so that I can be amongst the parables. I can be amongst the congregation of the high. Because we do see it now in the faith here in Babylon. We see people of a hard working caliber that's doing it all. I want to commend those brothers and sisters too. There is some of us that's out here that's doing it all, that got hard working jobs and make the time for the Lord. You see them out there at unity camps. You see them out there doing lessons and breakdowns and debates, and you see them out there making time with their family still and still doing good on the job to provide for their family. We are out there. I'm just encouraging more of that. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm doing. That's all on that. Let me get the next. What was this? Dang. I didn't screenshot what it was. I want to say it is Exodus. I think it's Exodus 31. Right? So remember what I said, right? God's spirit is in the craftsmen as well. So don't be discouraged. You know what I'm saying? You're doing what you're doing because the Most High God ordains everything to happen. You know what I'm saying? You are where you are because He wants you there. Right? Let's get this. Exodus 31, starting at verse 1.
Khan, it's the book of Exodus, chapter 31, starting at verse number 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, See, I have called by name Bezaleel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah. And I
Right?
have filled.
Stop right there. How many of us know who Bezalel is, the son of Uri? None of us know. Why don't we know? Because he's not amongst the parables, man. Because his hands was tied. We're gonna see that, right? Let's read verse 3.
Verse 3. And I have filled him with the Spirit of God in wisdom and in understanding and in knowledge and in all manner of workmanship
Right?
to, to devise cunning works, to work in gold and in silver and in brass
Right? Verse 5.
and in the cutting of stones, to set them, and in carving of timber, to work in all manner of workmanship.
Right? So check it out. The Spirit of God does dwell in men that are hardworking, right? And it is a spirit of wisdom. But the thing is this, He's given certain men the wisdom to make life comfortable and to make life keep moving and life to be able to function. He's given certain men that wisdom, and He's also filled other men, right, with another type of wisdom that is more spiritual, right? And then if we keep reading, you see that he gives somebody else, right, and puts wisdom in that person, right, to build the tabernacle, the ark of the testimony, furniture and the tables. So his wisdom is in that stuff too, right? It's just a different type of wisdom. It's the same. It's the same source. It's just a different type of wisdom, right? So we can't say that those brothers don't got the spirit that's doing crafts and things of that nature and that's hard working. They got the spirit, but the Most High God just knows that if they're doing that, it's hard for the Most High. It's not hard for the Most High, but it's hard for man to do that and to also sit at the table of the elders, right? Because they got to make sure things is running smooth, right? Let's get this real quick. Luke 9:58. The book of Luke, chapter 9 and verse 58.
Con, and while you pull that up too, man, I remember first time I read Exodus 31, and that's when a few years ago, that's what made me, um do that lesson called, forsake not your office, because what you saying is right. Oftentimes we forget that the Lord has a specific role for everyone. You know what I'm saying? And you just got to know how to play it, right? And the best thing about it is that people really want to be, sometimes you want to be, the HNIC, the chief, the head, whatever you want to call it. You want to be amongst the prophets and the elders. But realistically, man, when you look at the world and how it operates, man, you really overlook how much welders are really needed. Like, you really overlook how much, truck drivers are really needed. Like, even your average garbage men that you see that pick up your trash on a certain day every week, right? People really make fun of them, but they're much needed because they help maintain, the sanitation of the city. So it's just like, we got to take pride in all of these positions because the Lord has, I guess you could say, put a certain spirit in us to work these positions regardless of what they are, right? But you just can't get distracted, too much about, you can't get distracted too much away from the Lord, regardless of what position you have.
Man, and you brought that to my attention because I know a lot of them, know a lot of brothers out there now. Hey, shout out to the drivers, right? Y'all are driving 24/7. Y'all don't have time, right? But I know a lot of drivers that do make time, right, to evangelize and to do lessons and stuff. But drivers, man, y'all hands always on the wheel, man, and they got them cameras in the trucks now, so it's like you can't really do much, right? We understand that. We understand that you making a way for us to eat here in Egypt, right? Sharing the food through the store from the storehouses and bringing it to our grocery stores. You know what I'm saying, so to speak. So yeah, man, Khan, man, that's a mighty point. You know, we all can't be that spirit of that might. You might have a different spirit on you, and I'm saying that because that you can't. You know, a lot of brothers would be like, well, you know, the time we're living in Babylon, we all gotta serve X, Y, and Z. Look, the brothers, the disciples was living in a time of captivity. The prophets was living in a time of captivity. Ain't nothing new, right? There was a Babylon before this Babylon. I know brothers right now that are willing to go broke because they love just doing only the Lord's work, right? So I know that spirit is still on some men today, right? And then men, you know, you watch their video, you take the time because you know a lot of us don't take the time. But if you take the time to watch their videos, you might think they crazy, they broke. Oh, this nigga doing too much. You take the time to watch their video, man. And you know they just been in their house all day or been in their car all day just watching lessons and studying. You watch their videos, they got some wisdom for you. You might be like, dang, I ain't never looked at it like that. I ain't expect to learn from this brother. I ain't expect to learn from this sister, but they got that leisure time, right? So that's
Con.
still on some people. Go ahead.
Hey, and if I could add real quick too, you know, that's why I like the way Paul stated that, man. He was saying this not necessarily trying to cause a snare, but just kind of like you said earlier, making people aware. Because see, sometimes, man, you say, man, you got too much time on your hands, or you don't got enough time on your hands to do X, Y, and Z. Sometimes it offends people that you telling me, how you gonna tell me how much time I got to put in work for the Lord? But when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, that's why there was order and structure in the way that the Lord had everything designed, right? He had the Levites doing a certain thing for a reason. He didn't have everybody, you know, do the, I guess you could say, the service of God. Why? Because the Levites devoted their lives to performing the service of God. And they were to do that for a specific reason. Not everybody was called to do that. And
Right,
it's just important to know that it's more of a everybody can work together type of mindset to build the kingdom, as opposed to everybody got to be that guy to
right,
be, you know, the head high priest of the whole, you know what I'm saying, camp,
right,
like, or the whole nation of Israel. Like, it
right,
really is a beautiful thing that everybody has a specific position that you got to fulfill.
right, man. You know, like it says, man, we are all one body. Everybody can't be the feet, man, and the legs to get us to move about, right? We all know, like, you know, we praise God that we have mobility of our legs because some people paralyzed. It's a big part of the body. Everybody can't be the eyes. You know, a lot of us, man, we don't want to live in darkness, right? 24/7. We glad we can see. Everybody can't be the eyes though. Everybody can't be the head, right? Everybody can't be the hands or arm. You got to fall in when you fall in, right? And I like the fact that you brought that up again about the Levites because you know at first, you know, the Lord was just requiring the firstborn to do the services of God, but then I guess the Lord saw that that wasn't going to work, and He hollowed a whole tribe, man. He hollowed a whole tribe because He understands that life gets in the way, right? So let's read this real quick though. Luke 9:58.
Luke 9 and 58. And Jesus said unto him, foxes have holes, birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has not where to lay his head.
Right? I'm reading this because I'm just making an emphasis that, bam, first example, Christ, man, he didn't have no he didn't have no wife, he didn't have no kids, he ain't even have no house. You know what I'm saying? That man was devoted to the Lord and trusted in the Lord for his protection, for his shelter, for his food, all that, right? There's some men on the earth that still operate like that. We just think that they're crazy. We think that they're bugged out. We think they're homeless. You know, we think that they're lazy, right? But there's some men that got that spirit on them, right? And I'm sure Christ looked crazy to a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? You know, so I bring that out to let you know that Christ had a lot of leisure time. You know what I'm saying? He had a lot of leisure time, even from the time he was a child, right? Some people back then might have had their 13-year-olds in the field working. He wasn't found in the temples, right? Let's get this real quick. First Kings 19 and 9.
Con, it's the book of First Kings, chapter 19, starting at verse 9. And he said, and he came thither unto a cave and lodged there. And behold, the word of the Lord came to him. And he said unto him, what doest thou here, Elijah?
Right? So Elijah, right? Aliyah, right? What does that mean? Fire of God, right? So check this out. Elijah Why was he in a cave, bruh? What family man is gonna be in a cave? What man that has a 9 to 5 is gonna be in a cave? Not one, bruh. You know what I'm saying? This man was devoted to the Lord. You know, not many of us is gonna have that spirit on us to just be homeless, bruh. You know what I'm saying? And I want to make an emphasis here. The Lord came to him in that cave, right? When Moses had ran away and was living in a stranger's land, trying to make provisions for himself, you know, didn't have nowhere to call home. The Lord came to him, right? When we look at certain people like uh Daniel, right? And even when we look at Ezra, right? These brothers, when they were fasting, right? Guess what? The Lord came to them on their fast. So that's why I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the video, you know, when you get married, sometimes, man, you don't got time to be as devoted to your fasting like you once was. You got responsibilities now. You know what I'm saying? And to do them responsibilities, I hate to say it, man, you gotta be up on your nutrition. How are you gonna survive at work, right? How are you gonna get the promotion you need if you're always in a bad attitude because you have no food in your system, right? Or you can't get stuff done at work because you have no strength in your bones. You gotta eat. You know what I'm saying? So my point is this, right? Even though life is, you know, can get in the way, we gotta remind ourselves of these men that had that leisure time, and we gotta go that much harder. We gotta say, I still want to be like that man. I still want to be like that. I know I got this on my plate. I still want to be like that, right? And for example, like this camp right here, this congregation, this church's body, the hopeful elect. It's only a few of us, right? But we put our brick in as we, you know, we on here right now on a Wednesday night. You know what I'm saying? And we may think we doing something. The Lord may be laughing like, hey man, you know, y'all never the Lord may be like, y'all never gonna get bigger than what y'all are right now. It's amusing to me that you guys are trying to be those mighty men, but my spirit is on y'all to do the work somewhere, you know, else, you know what I'm saying, and provide for y'all families and, you know, talk to people here and there that you might meet on your job and you might meet at a restaurant, you might meet at the gym. But it's cute that y'all doing it. The Lord might be looking at us like that, but guess what? We trying to go hard for the Lord, so we know that the Lord, even though he's looking at it like that, you know, he's still flattered, right? We still putting our brick in. He's still gonna honor that when at his second coming. We still gonna get our reward, right? And it keeps us out of folly and madness because why? We're paying attention, right? Where do I want to go next? Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 24. So we got a few examples so far. Let's get an example with Ezekiel.
Con. And the thing is, too, man, and I'm gonna say this as a disclaimer, not because the brother Azrael supports this on his lesson, but I'm just saying it from a standpoint of how I see it, man. It's not necessarily, I ain't gonna say it's not necessarily a bad thing to have your hands kind of tied to a certain extent. And I'm not saying it as in you shouldn't want to, you know, maybe make more time for the Lord, but I'm saying it as in you got to think about it like this. If you have a certain office, the Lord requires you to do exactly what you're doing for that position. Like that's just the only way I can continue to think about it because, man, some people feel like, again, that's why I reflect on the way Paul stated it. Some people really be thinking that it's a bad thing that you don't have time to get on and do a video. Well, that's why it's important to know if you driving trucks, if you're a CDL truck driver, you transporting, like the brother said, food from the storehouses to the next storehouse. So that way people in this part of the state can get it, you know, regardless of what you're transporting, right? That's why you have brothers that the Lord maybe gave a little bit more free time to be able to do those lessons. So that way you can still get your edification in, you know, if you driving for 8 hours straight and you ain't got time to stop and read, Lord, that's why the Lord had people make audio Bibles. So that way you can still listen to the word, you know, and take advantage of edifying your spirit, right? Because again, we all work together to build the kingdom. So if your hands are tied and you want to make more time, that's great. But don't beat yourself up if you kind of got your hands tied a little bit. I'm not saying let distractions just overtake you just for the sake of no. But I'm just saying from a standpoint of you can always look at it from two different sides of the spectrum, right? And I just choose to look at look at it being like a glass half full type thing, where yeah, if you got a certain role, you ain't got that much time to do X, Y, and Z. But that's why the Lord gave other brothers other time to do this, so that way you could still be edified, you could still get the word, you could still be able to teach your family the word, teach your friends the word, stuff like that when that time comes.
Oh
Man,
man, I want to say something too, man, just to be kind of in between both of those standpoints, right? And what I'll say is, man, prayer still works, right? Why do I say that? Is because if it is on your heart, right, that you got a lot on your plate and you want to get some of it off, right? Prayer still works. You can pray for stuff like stuff that's mentioned in the Bible, like leisure time, right? You can pray for more leisure time. He said, "Knock and He'll open the door unto you." He said, "There's not one man that asks for wisdom and He ain't give it to him." Right? So it's there for the taking. You just gotta take it, right? It says, "You have not because you ask not." Right? So when you look at those things, man, you got to understand the Bible talks about let thine eye be single. So you might pray for it, it might not come right then and there, but it says, "Let thy eye be single and shall be full of light." Whatever you focus on is what's going to come to pass, right? If you keep praying for that leisure time, and the Lord will make a way, right? You pray for a job that will give you more leisure time if you want it, right? If you really want it, if you like Solomon and you just want to soak up all the wisdom you can pray for that, right? And you pray and wait for it. You know what I'm saying? One precept I was going to bring out today, I'll just paraphrase it, is Luke 12 and 22. He provides for the birds and the flowers, right? That neither sow nor reap. And he said, how much better are you than them? You know what I'm saying? So take no thought of what you're gonna eat tomorrow and what you're gonna wear tomorrow. If you're focusing on building this kingdom and and getting this wisdom, right? The Lord is not gonna deplete you from that. That's something that He wants you to get, right? But again, man, you got to let your eye be single, and that comes in with faith too, right? How much faith do you have? That's what Luke is talking about, is that faith. How much can you let go so that you can receive? How much he says, "Come to me, my burden is light," right? But you gotta want it to be light. And it's tricky living in this world, in this society, because we're taking a gamble. You know what I'm saying? Especially in the way inflation is today. You're taking a gamble because it's like, man, I'm taking a gamble with the things that I need to provide for my life and my family. But if you really have faith that this word is true, you understand that just like He provide for the birds and the bees, right? He'll provide for you too. And so I say that again to say prayer still works. If you really want extra leisure time, right? That's if you want it. You know what I'm saying?
Man. And sometimes, like the brother said, opportunity cost. If you want that leisure time, you could pray for it, but also you got to be ready for cutoffs. You have to be ready to cut off some of the cares of the world that are currently in your life, right? Maybe some comfortability, so maybe some wants, right? I'm not talking about needs, but I'm talking about wants, right? So, just be prepared with what you pray for. You know what I'm saying? If you see men and you want to be amongst those men, and it's a spirit in you that's been provoked, and you say you think that God's calling you to do that, and you pray for that leisure time, and you pray that the Most High God put you in position, just be prepared with what comes with it,
And then
right?
you got to understand too, right? Not to cut you off. Living in America, man, we all got more leisure time than we think, right? Everybody be on social media, bro, right? Everybody be scrolling. You know what I'm saying? Like we all got
I'll say this though. That's not the leisure time. I'm
right, right,
I'm
right. I'm just talking about on a minor scale. I'm just talking about on a
Yeah.
minor scale, right? And on that minor scale, how much leisure time that you already have on a minor scale that you can cut out and take advantage of? Because it says that it's an opportunity of leisure, right? So you got to take advantage of that opportunity. But a lot of us aren't even man enough, women enough to cut off our right hand when it offends, right? What does that look like? Deleting Instagram, deleting Facebook, because we know it takes away from our reading time. Right?
Right. And you can, make all the excuses in the world, like I'm using this to further the word of the Lord, but you know what you're doing when you're not furthering the word of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? But also, When I say opportunity cost, sometimes it may be spending time with your family. A lot of the leaders that we see, a lot of people that we see that push the faith, even in the scriptures and in real life, we see that, you know, family has to take a back seat sometimes, right? I believe Peter had a daughter, which means he had a wife, right? Because his daughter came and visited him in jail that one time and gave him bread. You know, he's with Christ so much, and he's getting this wisdom. He don't got as much time to spend with his family, right? And that's why Luke tells us in chapter 14, we have to be able to give up family, brother, mother, wife, friend, sister, in-laws. We have to be able to give up all that if we want to be what? Disciples or followers of God. You got to be ready when God call you. If he do put a spirit on you real quick and he call you, you got to be ready to just be like, yeah, it hurts, but I really am paying attention to the Lord. The cares of this life don't matter. The next life is what matters, right? And that brings us into this point right here, right? Ezekiel 24:16.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 24 and verse 16. Son of man, behold, I take away from thee the desire of thine eyes with a stroke. Yet neither shalt thou mourn nor weep, neither shall thy tears run down.
Right? So going here, because we all know Ezekiel is a mighty prophet, right? Ezekiel, his book in the Bible is a heavy hitting book in the Old Testament, right? And he's saying he's taking the desire of thine eyes. Before we get to the design of his eyes, right? Just we can double to that, which is, what is the desire of your eyes? And would you be willing to give that up for, you know, the service of God? Right? There's things that's in our life that we probably couldn't fathom to be without. That's the desire of our eyes. Would you be able to do without it? And I'm bringing this out to show you that there's certain spirits on certain men for them to give up the desire of their eyes. You might not be that man, like the brother Isaiah said, you know, and it's not a shot to you or a snare to you, but I'm just saying there's certain men that have that on them, right? And that's a level of determination and diligence that you should measure your determination and diligence with. Let's get the next verse.
Verse 17 says, forbear to cry, make no mourning for the dead, bind the tire of thine head upon thee. And
right. So I
put
want to say, you know, going to the New Testament, Christ said, "What? Let the dead bury the dead." The brother just wanted to go to his dad's funeral, I think, right, or somebody in his family's funeral, and Christ said, "Let the dead bury the dead." That's it. That's what I'm saying. The cares of this life. Oh, you took the Nazarite vow. Is you gonna break? You gonna fold because somebody close to you died, or you gonna go to that funeral, or you gonna keep the Nazarite vow that you vowed to the Lord? It's little stuff like that, right? What I'm saying is, it's not easy to be hated. A lot of the times, you know, a second segment of this is, I would say, a lot of these men that's used in the Bible were seen to be buttholes. They were seen to be harsh and mean and not loving, right? To the outside, right? To the family, right? Even Christ's family was standing afar off, right? Looking at him like, dude, what's going on? Like, you a different person, right? A prophet is without honor even in his own home, right? I'm saying when you take the Lord serious, and the Lord has a calling on your life, it's gonna cause for some isolation, right?
right. Hey man, I just want to say, man, it's, you know, a lot of people now, man, we have a cryptocurrency mindset, right? We want to get the talent that we got from the Lord, from the good master that left us, and we want to put it in an investment app and not have to worry about it, and come back 20 years and hopefully we got $100,000 in there, right? And that brings to me a parable. The parable that comes to mind is the talent and the sower, right? You had a few people sowing talents. You had one that took that one talent and he buried it and hid it, right? And then when it came to present to the Lord, that's the only thing he had. But the other ones, they flipped it, they multiplied it, right? But to do that, it causes what? It causes you to work and to actually put in effort to do so, right? So it's not really the mindset of that cryptocurrency mindset, but you actually have to plow to it. Like the brother was saying, like it's not gonna be easy. That's my whole point of bringing that parable out. It's not going to be easy. Think about somebody that is multiplying the talent, right? Just hustling. People, I mean, people go on the corners and sell drugs and hustle harder than people that are in this truth for the Lord, right? They go when they're flipping chickens, whatever they call it. You know what I'm saying? Turning one bag into five, right? Turning $20 into 200,
Not to
right?
cut you off real quick, but that's that spirit. There's a spirit on some brothers to be excellent in their job. You know what I'm saying?
Right, look, bro. I was watching a documentary of Nipsey Hussle and his brother Black Sam. They was outside selling T-shirts out of a trunk of a car. They said they would be out there for 20 hours straight. That's how dedicated they were to doing it, man. Let that eye be single, it shall be full of light. Whatever you focus on, that's what's gonna come to fruition. But you're not gonna be able to do that, right? If you got that cryptocurrency mindset, you get that talent, you get $20 and you put it in a cryptocurrency, the Bitcoin app, and you let it just fester and hope you get rich. It doesn't work like that, right? The talent and the sower and the talent parable causes you to work, causes you to network, to talk to people, right? To look into information for yourself. But it's only going to happen if you work.
And Salakia too, that kind of goes into what we talked about this past Sabbath, not letting certain stuff go to your head, being a good hireling, etc. Right? Because again, like you mentioned, you get enough of something, man, and you feel like okay, now I don't got to put no more work towards it. Then on the contrary, sometimes you forget that the work is very valuable, regardless of the work that you do. Again, man, you can only imagine how I guess you could say in today's age, if we didn't have a lot of the brothers doing the work that they did on a daily basis, how the world would just suddenly stop, man. And it'll put a lot of people, I guess you could say, in jeopardy of having the work that they're commanded to do stop too, because of the latter, I guess you could say, the chain of command, the chain of respect, of job positioning and stuff like that. All saying that to say, all in all, is that again, we all know that we want to do the work of the Lord, man. I think I speak for the brothers on the stage too when I say, doing lessons, doing videos, all that is really a beautiful thing because we get to talk to the people, we get to vent to the people, we can help edify people. People can throw comments and ask questions, and it's biblical conversation that we're engaged in, and it keeps our mind occupied on the things of the Lord, for however long we're on here, for however many days we get on, right? But the most important thing is understanding that even with our spiritual gifts, we do have physical jobs that require us to do different things. And no one thing is necessarily, I ain't gonna say no one thing is necessarily greater than the other, but what I will say is that all of our occupations kind of work to the betterment of our companies, kind of work for the betterment of our lives around us, right? The cities we live in, the companies we work at. Why? Because at the end of the day, we have certain positions that require us to have our hands tied in certain things. And if that means that, well, the brothers get off early, they could get on live and do a lesson, but see, I'm gonna be at work a little later today, but I'm outside, picking up trash in the neighborhood, then so be it. Because at the end of the day, again, we working together, but nonetheless, we're still working. That's the most important thing, is that we still work. So that just kind of goes in hand, what I'm saying, being a good hireling too, because again, you want to be somebody who, can be trusted, right? You want to be somebody who can be dependable and reliable, when it's all said and done, right? And you can't do that by having that cryptocurrency mindset, making a small investment and thinking that, okay, it's good, it can just sit there. Now you kind of got to provoke yourself to good works, and you kind of got to do good works if you're the one that's got to do the work, right? So,
Man, mighty points by the brothers. Dang, where did brother Denal go? Right? I do want to finish this point right here in Ezekiel. Remember, sometimes to be fully devoted and to be called by God, right, you have to be willing to give up the desire of your eyes, man. Whatever that may be. It may be family, it may be a spouse, it may be your job, it may be money, it may be whatever. You know what I'm saying? You have to be willing to give up the desire of your eyes sometimes and have faith that he's gonna replace it with something better, right? Uh, I'll just read this real quick. Ezekiel 24:17. Forbear to cry, make no mourning for the dead. Bind the tire of thine head upon thee, and put on thy shoes upon thy feet, and cover not thy lips, and eat not the bread of men. Right? He's foreshadowing, saying the desire of your eyes is going to become to naught, and is going to be a death. Right? Let's figure out what death. Right? If we read verse 18.
Verse 18. So I spake unto the people in the morning, and at even my wife died, and I did in the morning as I was commanded.
Right. So the desire of his eyes was his wife. So the Lord is causing him to go forth through life without his wife, all for the purpose of the Lord. Right. You know what I'm saying? The Lord could cause you to, I don't know, man, do the obscenity, like something absurd to you, right? And ultimately, he knows what has your attention, right? So you got to be honest with yourself when you're starting to pay attention and be direct with the Lord. You got to be honest with yourself and ask yourself, do I really want that leisure time? Am I really called to do that work, right? You know what I'm saying? It's serious too. I want all of us to pay attention and be serious, but like I said, man, there's certain men, when you look at the certain men of the Lord and you dissect their life, they was living a certain type of life that may be scary to some others. You know what I'm saying? But it should help us reflect on our own life and raise the bar in our own lives, right? We might not be able to come close to them, but at least we can try, right? And that's what this video is about, is the wisdom, right? We're getting wisdom through through the text, right? To help us to be more attentive, to pay attention, right? Let's read this real quick. Matthew 4:18.
Matthew chapter 4 and verse 18. And Jesus, walking by the Sea of Galilee, saw two brethren, Simon called Peter, and Andrew his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishers.
They were fishermen by trade. They had an occupation. They had family. They had a job. They had a job that could help provide for their family, right? Fishermen. And what happened? Let's read verse 19.
Verse 19. And he said unto them, follow me, and I will make you fishers of men.
Man. He said, follow me, I'll make you fishers of men. Some of us, we get that inclination in our brain. We get that dream. We get that vision. We hear that audible voice in our head to do something crazy. And we know for a fact it's crazy, but I know if I let that go, I'll have a lot of time to focus on God, because that does take up a lot of my time. I'll be fishing all the time, man. And yeah, if I give up fishing, I can't provide for my family like I want to. And it's a great job. Not everybody can get this fishing gig, but the Lord's calling me to leave for a better purpose. He says, should I do it? There's certain men that keep fishing, and there's certain men that do this, right? Let's read verse 20.
Verse number 20. And they straightway left their nets and followed him.
Right? Straightway, right? If you guys follow Straightway Ministries, right, with Pastor Dow, right? He always talks about his testimony of how he, quit his job and he lived in a trailer and moved his family out to be, and when they were uncomfortable. And now his testimony is that he has multiple communities, and they're all operating in the law, statutes, commandments of God, X, Y, and Z. Nonetheless, that straight way means, hey, look, you don't second guess when the Lord is talking to you, even if it is the desire of your eyes. You got to put your net down and follow him, right? So I say that to say this: if we raising the bar, right? Like the brother said earlier, right? Take any chance to get the knowledge to speak, right? To your spirit. So you at your job, you get a break. On your break, you usually take a little nap. On your break, you usually, eat a little snack, scroll on your phone. Hey, straight way. You got to remember, straight way. I don't need to take a nap. I can, jump into these scriptures. I could watch a little lesson, right? You got a little free time, you know what I'm saying? When you get home and you normally play with the kids, man, it's of God that you got them kids. Now this sound crazy. This sound crazy what I'm about to say, but You didn't read too much in the last couple of days. Hey man, go lock yourself in the bathroom and get to reading. Right? You may think, but I'm neglecting my family. Hey, you know what I'm saying? All I'm saying is this: you got to straightway do what the Lord is calling you to do. And we all know what the Lord is calling. It's different for everybody, but we all have that thought in the back of our head. And that thought seems crazy sometimes, but man, how life will change when you listen to that thought, right? Take any chance you get. Um, the next one I want to go to is Luke chapter 14. I briefly mentioned this earlier. We're going to start at verse 26, right? 14 and 26.
Yeah, man. I was about to bring this out, man. Reading my mind.
Right.
The book of Luke, chapter 14 and verse 26. If any man come to me and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and brethren and sisters, yea, and his own life, he also cannot be my disciple.
Now we know we're not supposed to hate these people, man, that in the list. It's not saying that as King's English. It's just saying you got to be ready to hate them if they come sideways. You got to be ready to put them away if God calls for that, right? It says you cannot be my disciple, right? It also says your own life. So you can't let your own life get in the way either just because life is going good. You know what I'm saying? God made, and we did a video a while back on do not envy thyself, right? And that goes for anything. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I was making this much money at my last job. I can't make less than that. Oh, I was living in this type of house last year. I can't move out of that house. I know I'll save money, but I can't, I gotta keep my granite countertops. Now I was driving this car last year, so I can't backtrack. People gonna look at me crazy, right? Don't envy yourself. Even thy own life also, you cannot be a follower of Christ because he gonna try you. He gonna try you, right? And he has tried the great men in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? And he tries you to see if you're paying attention, right? And sometimes he's trying you because he know, right, that you're not gonna put it down by yourself, and you know that it's taking up too much of your time, right? So he gonna put it down for you. You know what I'm saying? And that's another go ahead for y'all to, even while you got it now, go hard so he don't have to take it away, right? I want to get this real quick. Proverbs 4 and 20. Proverbs 4.
Hold on, you gotta keep going.
Well, I really just wanted to, but he cannot be my disciple. I know it kind of goes through verse 28 though.
Yeah, 28 is what I was gonna bring out.
We could read verse 27.
Just go to 28.
All right.
Because I was gonna bring it out anyway. It says, for which of you intending to build a tower sitteth not down first and counteth the cost, whether ye have sufficient to finish it. So a lot of it comes down to decision making too, right? We talk about all the time. You don't have to beg somebody to do something that they want to do. You ain't gotta ask somebody to do something that they have a passion to do. They just gonna do it. So if you say you got a passion for this word, for this wisdom, for this knowledge, your decision should reflect that. You shouldn't be making a decision that's going to take you away from that, right? People do it all the time, right? And it's a big, in the world, it's a big controversy in young families, right? Young marriages. Do I take the job that's going to take me away from my family? Or do I take this pay cut, stay with my family, and, look for something else, right? It's the same thing for this truth, right? Do I take this job? Do I take this side gig? Do I take on 2 side gigs because I need the money, but I know I'm gonna be dog tired. Because after I get off of work, I'm gonna have to go straight there. Then I have to go straight there, right?
I'm not gonna have no time for the Lord.
When you make decisions, make sure when you make the decisions, you count in every single cost. Like when you build in the house, you gotta account for everything. Foundation. Nowadays, you gotta account for that HVAC, right? You gotta account for the electricity. You gotta account for if the house is on a slope, how's your yard gonna look when it rains? Is it gonna flood up, right? You know what I'm saying? You gotta count the cost, and then you gotta count when you start to build a house. Do you have enough funds to finish it? what does it look like to have enough funds to finish it? You got to look outside the box because you're going to have hiccups. You have enough funds to cover the hiccups. In your life,
Right.
you're going to have hiccups, right?
Do you have
So
enough? Do you have enough determination to get through the stuff that comes with the decision that you just made?
that's one thing that we don't do in our community in general. We don't do well with counting the cost. We're very impulsive in everything we do. Me, and as I preach to you guys, I preach to myself because I'm impulsive in a lot of stuff too, right? We think we can handle something right then and there, and then it starts to get overwhelming, right? I just had a conversation not too long, well, a couple of weeks ago with my wife, right? She signed up to do something, right? And she asked me, she said, "Hey, look, you think I should do this?" And I'm like, "I don't know why you ask me. You're gonna do what you're gonna do anyway." But I'm gonna tell you, like, I just don't think you should do it because you probably gonna get overwhelmed. She did it anyway, started getting a little overwhelmed. She ain't telling me, but I can see it. You know what I'm saying? And so we make decisions that ultimately is rooted in pride, right? I do it, you do it, everybody does it, and then we think we can take on more than what we can handle, and we find ourselves on the back burner at the end of the day, right? And so counting the cost is going to Brother Azrael's favorite characteristic is prudence, right? Before you make a decision, weigh out every option, right? And when you weigh out every option, you got to think of every factor in your life, right? Kids, wife, if you have an ailment, if you have to go get uh, uh I don't know anything done, you got to put all that into your decision making, and ask yourself, is this going to take me further away from God than I already am, right? Because my life is already jumbled up, you know what I'm saying? And so count the cost, man. That's one of my favorite precepts. Make sure you're doing that. That's gonna save you a lot.
Oh man. And that's good advice. You know what I'm saying? You got to count the cost, man, whatever decision it might be. I know somebody, a close brother's situation, and just because we read Luke, and you may say, why would I be put in a situation to have to choose this faith over my mom, you know what I'm saying, or choose this faith over my family, right? It could be you, right? You're of age, you're mid 20s, you got your own job, and you want to stay home, right, to build your bread up so that you can you know build your bread up, right? But if you stay home, that your family's not in the truth, and they might celebrate holidays, and they might eat pork, and they might, stuff. They might be on the bottle heavy, and you might be tempted. So you tasked with the Lord in your ear saying, move out, trust me, and move out. I know you want to be amongst family, and I know you want to stack your bread, but the Lord is saying, move out. Are you going to listen to the Lord, or are you going to let the cares of this life choke you, like we're about to read, and you're going to stay in that bad situation, right? You got to be able to give up the desire of your eyes sometimes, because the desire of your eyes is what's taking your attention off of the Most High God. When you're able to, you say that desire of my eyes is not that desirable, right? You can pay attention more, right? Let's read this, Mark 4:18.
Con, this is Mark 4:18, and it reads, "And these are they which are sown among the thorns, such as heard the word."
Right? Question to anybody that's watching, that's gonna watch this: uh, Are you sown among the thorns? Right? Verse 19.
Verse 19, "And the cares of this world, and the deceitfulness of riches, and the lust of other things entering in, choke the word, and it becometh unfruitful."
Right? So the thorns is the cares of this world, right? The deceitfulness of riches, meaning the endless cycle, keeping up with the Joneses, the rat race, trying to get to the bag. That's the deceitfulness of riches. The lust of other things entering in your family, your marriage, your whatever, right? Choke the word. How does it choke the word? It takes your attention away from the word. It takes your attention away from the Most High God. That's why you're sowing them on the thorns, because the thorns is just choking. If you've seen a weed, weeds come over, they take over the flowers, they take over the vegetables, they take over, and it ruins everything, right? Next thing you know, you got disease in it. That's what's choking the word, right? Is the distractions. And it becomes what? It becometh unfruitful, right? I think verse 20 I wanted to read too.
Verse 20.
Never mind. I don't want to read verse 20. I don't want to read verse 20. The last precept I got, man, is gonna come from Proverbs, but I want to read this in the end. What version do I want to read this in? I want to read this in the NLT, right? We're gonna read Proverbs 4 and verse 20. I like the way the NLT says it, man. That's why I want to read it in that. They say this, they say it the same way, but the NLT uses a certain word that I want to bring to y'all's attention to end the video on, right? Proverbs 4 and 20. Which one do I want to go to? We'll go to this one because I do think it is through 22. Right? Let's read this. Proverbs 4 and 20. New Living Translation.
Proverbs 4 and 20 in the NLT. And it reads, my child, pay attention to what I say. Listen carefully to my words. It says what? Listen carefully, what though? My child, pay attention to what I say.
It says pay attention, right? Pay attention. That's the title of the video. Pay attention to what I say. Listen carefully to my words. That's an everyday thing, right? Let's keep reading.
Come on, listen carefully to my words. Don't lose sight of them. Let them. It says what? Don't lose sight of them.
Right? Don't let anything in this life cause you to pay attention and lose sight of the words, right? Don't let it. Don't lose sight, right? Keep going.
I like this, man. It says, let them penetrate deep into your heart, for they bring life to
penetrate. If you let it penetrate deep into your heart, man, that's the laws written on your heart. You know what I'm saying? If you let it penetrate deep into your heart, that's all that's gonna matter. That's gonna eventually take over and be the desire of your eyes. It's not gonna be the cares of this world, the cares of this life. It's gonna be what's sown in your heart, which is the words that he said don't lose sight of. Right? Keep reading.
It says, for they bring life to those who find them and healing to their whole body.
Come on, man. You got to get that point, man. You know, but pay attention. Pay attention, man. Wisdom Wednesday. Y'all brothers got anything?
You know, what that verse just reminded me of, man, was y'all think I'm corny for this, but Grey's Anatomy, man. The brother put me on Grey's Anatomy, and there's a couple episodes where Dr. Robbins is getting taught by this lady, right? How to do a specific type of surgery. It's like fetal surgery, where they go into the womb and they do surgery on the fetus and then sew it back up so it can do the rest of its term. But the lady only had about 6 months to live. And so she said, hey, look, to Dr. Robbins, I chose you, and I want to teach you everything I know. So I want you to read all these notes that I've taken, ingrain them in your mind verbatim. She'll ask her a question and she'll kind of paraphrase. She said, no, I want you to know it the exact way I put it on the paper, right? He said, and at the same time I'm reading this, it says, let them penetrate deep in your heart. Your heart is your mind. This is the what she was trying to do to Dr. Robbins is what the Lord is trying to do to us, right? Take my notes, right? If I had a physical Bible in my hand, take my notes and let them penetrate deep in your mind, right? That way, when I'm gone, because Christ, he's not with us no more. I mean, he's with us in the spirit, but he's not with us no more. So when I'm gone, you know how to operate, you know how to do this surgery, right? If something comes up, you know how to troubleshoot it, because my notes, my words have penetrated in your mind, right? So even when I'm gone, I'm still here. That's what Dr. Hearn said to Robbins. He said, even when I'm gone, I'll still be here. All you can picture is my lips and my notes. That's what Christ said. When I'm gone, I'm gonna send you the Comforter, and he's gonna remind you of all things. And he left behind these words, but it's up to us, right, to let them penetrate, to pay attention, let them penetrate deep in our heart. Because what's gonna happen? Just like Dr. Robbins, when she finally got it all down, right? Dr. Hearn was like, man, I'm glad I did it. I taught you everything I knew. And now the surgeries that I can't do when I'm gone, you'll be able to continue to do them like I'm still here because you are an extension of me now. And so now, verse 22, it says, for they bring life to those who find them and healing to their whole body. That's what Dr. Roberts was doing, right? The master teacher done taught you. Now you have become not the master teacher. I'm not going to say that, right? But you're an extension. What did Christ say? The works that I've done, you'll do the same and more, right? But you have to what? You have to pay attention, and you got to make that time. You got to make that time, right? But Khan, are you?
Con, and I'll add too. Yeah, there's this saying in the world that people make time for what they want, right? So if you can find time to play the video game, and I myself still hop on the game. If you make time to, go out to eat, if you make time to go to the gym, if you make time to do all these other things in your pastime when you're not at your 9 to 5, or your graveyard 11 to 7, then make time to invest into the word of the Lord more. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, this is what's going to sustain us, right? That's why Proverbs 22:6, to go with what we just read in Proverbs, says, train up a child in the way they should go, and when they're older, they will not turn from it. Why won't they turn from it? Because whatever you taught them from a child was penetrated in their heart, right? And that's the only way of life that they know. So we got to, again, if you have children, do your due diligence, teach your children these things. But at the same time, remember, you are still a child to the Most High. So as a child, you should be penetrating your heart with the words of the Lord, trying to make time to do the things that the Lord wants us to do, right? But at the same time, don't beat yourself down if you ain't got the time. Like the brother said, if you prayer works, if you want more time to do more work for the kingdom of the Lord, pray on it. And when that eye is single and you focus on getting that time and you show the Lord that your work that you're working towards doing right by that time, once you receive it, when he gives it unto you, use it use it skillfully, right? Use it with wisdom, so that way it could show that you counted the cost instead of just receiving this gift and not knowing what to do with it, right? But at the end of the day, man, this was a mighty lesson, and I want to say, most high willing, you all were edified. But yeah, distractions, we got to eliminate them. This goes for myself too personally. I can make more time to do more things for the glory of the kingdom myself. So mighty lesson, right on time.
Con, man. And why for the brothers words, ending words, man. Mighty points, man. All praise to the Most High God that this lesson may be edifying, man. I know it edified myself as well. The brother says, good, wake up, oh sleeper, arise from the dead lesson, right? You know what I'm saying? A lot of times the cares of this world can cause us to fall asleep, right? Into that American dream over here in Babylon, you know what I'm saying? But it's time to wake up, man. It's time to pay attention. It's time to remember our first love. It's time to not lose sight of the words and plant them in our hearts, man. It's time to do that. You know what I'm saying? So without further ado, man, we will end this live, man. Wisdom Wednesday. If you're not gathering, you're scattering, right? We got to gather the people together as part of prophecy so that the Lord can come back and do what he's going to do, right? But without further ado, we say Shalom. Peace be unto y'all. Y'all finish the work week out strong. Shalom.
Shalom.
This thing, man. My computer did be, I think it's outdated, man.